Do you ever find yourself looking at your phone constantly with our eyes just mindlessly scrolling through social media over and over again? There's no denying the many pros and cons of social media. There's many different platforms for us to get our words, our thoughts, our art out into the world. There becomes a point for me where when I'm doing my schoolwork, I notice myself picking up my phone way too often. I will then put it to the side and have it be out of sight, out of mind, and hopefully get some more schoolwork or just work in general done. From Jessica Kingsley Publishers in 2019, they expressed that the people that spend 6 hours or more online are more likely to report that they feel lonely or unsatisfied with their lives. They find there's an inability to balance internet use and other general activities nearby. Today, I will convince you that social media is an addiction. I will do this by covering how social media is a big distraction. There are many forms of discrimination online and how social media is not only limited to our phones. Social media is something that we can access anywhere. Right now, it's taking over computers as well. We think of social media as Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, things along those lines that are on our phones. From MIT Press, they posit our brains comparing what we sense and experience in any given moment to our past experiences, whether those are real or created in our minds. Sometimes we experience things online that we believe to be a real experience, and that's something that I think can be so important, is that the social media is a way to have social contact without physically having contact. I think that one of the main causes that we believe that social media isn't limited to our phones is video games. There are different video game platforms such as Discord, TeamSpeak, something like that, and then there's the actual video games themselves. For example, we have Overwatch, Valorant, Call of Duty. Those games all have an in-game voice chat that you can communicate with other people. And I think of social media as something that you can communicate with others via a screen. This is a large part of the causes of why we lead to being addicted, is because something as a video game is so addictive. It really, you can keep going back, it's replayable. And according to Transcript Verlag of 2019, games have been legitimized after a while because of the revenue in their industry, and this is a steadier approach for them and to furthering their culture, so they're always adding and adapting to what they think their player base wants to see and play to keep them coming back. Also from Transcript Verlag, video games have been a playground for implementation and speculation of new ideas, and this has been going on for years and years, since even YouTube came out in, I want to say, 2007. Our solution is that we just need to not be so present on our video games. We need to let our lives be more physical rather than on a screen. Another problem is that social media can just generally be a big distraction. As I mentioned, I've had to put my phone down plenty of times just to get some work done. And from Greenwood ABC Publishing in 2020, internet addiction is a term for compulsive internet use. And this causes some negative behavior when we try to, for example, quit social media, and we will experience some sort of withdrawal symptoms. And that can be compared to quitting smoking, vaping, anything addictive. Also from Tradition Verlag of 2022, studies have proven that people who use less social media are more creative, and this is how they get their work done. This is how we can put a limit on our screen time, and something that causes it is that our notifications are always on. We're always receiving notifications. We always have our emails, our text messages. There's usually sound cues that provide these for us. There are many simple tasks that are prevented from being simple tasks with our phones being on all the time. We have For example, cleaning our rooms. We put on music and we can get something done, but if we have our phones in our hand with sound on, not so much. From Basic Books Publishing in 2017, there was a study done about growing up with the networked cultures, and many of those children and teenagers that lived on social media had families that didn't pay so much attention to what they were doing, and they felt way more lonely, but it also provided them a place to communicate with others. And when you talk to somebody online, it could get addicting to continue to go back and continue to communicate with this person, which means more phone time. From Jessica Kingsley Publishers in 2019, young people who spend more than 6 hours online outside of school will experience those symptoms, as I mentioned prior. I think the best solution is to turn off notifications. If you need to get something done, put your phone away, put it out of sight, out of mind, have somebody keep you accountable. I think that there's an easy way to limit the decreasing of using apps. For example, we can cut one off at a time and just progressively move on from there. Another problem with being online constantly is that we see a lot of discrimination. We see this everywhere. We see racism, sexism, all of these things. But especially leading back into the video game software, there are a lot of people that use video games as an outlet to get their anger out. And this is something that is a dominated field by men and boys, and they think that they're maybe superior rather than inferior to women or other social groups. According to New York University Press 2020, there is still a barrier to equality in gaming spaces, and this is more masculinized by these people that have, for example, my brothers introduced me to certain things and they were like, oh, that's because of me, where this is also another feeling for a lot of people where someone will be better than the other. And I think that that's something that will keep us going back too, is because we need to prove ourselves. And in order to prove ourselves, we will continue to do the same thing over and over again. I just reviewed how social media is a big distraction, how discrimination is present in our lives, and how social media is not only digitally on our phones, but screens in general. Today, I convinced you that social media is an addiction, and it's time to be less locked on our screens and experience more physical time.